y'all, welcome to Hot Drops, an entertainment-based podcast where we get together and discuss the hottest drops. Today we're going to be doing a movie review of Malcolm and Marie, available on Netflix, now streaming. My name is Dylan. I'm one of your hosts, always accompanied by my co-hosts, Josh and Ashton. You can find us streaming on pretty much everywhere. Links are in the description or in the bio on our socials. All right, let's get things going. Ashton, what was your hype and expectations leading up to this movie?
I randomly just saw it like when it came out on Netflix. Like it came up in the suggested for you or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I got kind of hyped because as we had just watched and reviewed Tenet, I was kind of on a John David Washington hype.
My man.
And so then when I saw it was him and Zendaya, I was like, well, obviously I'm in. But I didn't really know what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
I think I read the description, but it wasn't really putting a picture in my mind. So I really just went into it with two great actors. I'm excited. But I was hyped. I was excited to see what it was going to be because I felt like it was not going to be something that was just really straightforward and dull. It was going to have some sort of interest factor.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Jay?
Literally the exact same as Ashton, word for word. But I had no. Actually, no. You guys told me it was those two. So yeah, literally the exact same. Because I only knew the movie because you guys told me. That's about it. Honestly, I you guys told me to watch it. The next day I watched it. So I didn't really put time to think of have an impression. I just went into it.
Yeah, totally. I'm right there as well. I pretty much with Josh. I mean, I don't know. I've kind of been out of the what's coming out as far as movies go, new stuff because of pandemic and whatnot. Just missing them theater vibes, and it's never certain what's going to be pushed back and what's going to be released either digitally or still in theaters. So yeah, I didn't even know about this, but it is a Netflix movie original, right, Ashton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting to me. I didn't really hear about it until Ashton brought it up as an idea, and all I saw was a little thumbnail picture on Netflix. Didn't really try to watch a trailer for it. Was going in blind, and that's pretty much that for me. Okay, to anyone who is still with us on this podcast journey, this will be a spoiler review, obviously. So I just wanted to disclose that. Okay, let's start with just general thoughts. Ashton, what did you think about Malcolm and Marie surface level?
So I feel like I almost I literally just watched it 2 hours ago. And I feel like I'm still marinating in it, and I feel like I will be for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I liked I always love it when it's a really limited cast. I think that's always a cool idea and vibe. I feel like you typically end up having these cast listings of 100 people that are in a movie, and they all have a little bit, and so to have just a small cast is cool.
Totally.
Especially with two powerhouse actors.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that. I liked the cinematography was really, really interesting. That is always something that will draw me into a movie as well. So I feel like there's a lot of great aspects to it, including also the music, which I thought it was really cool that Labyrinth was the one who did the soundtrack, but he didn't put his own music in it. And I don't know if you guys know, but he's also the one who did the music for Euphoria, but he did an original soundtrack for it.
Ooh,
interesting.
So yeah, but I thought it was cool that he was the one picking all of the music for this movie. But didn't put his own music in it, but it still had the same kind of vibe as him, if that makes sense. I just thought it was really cool. But honestly, I did have moments where I felt the movie was really cyclical. like it just had like this like cycle of like, okay, they're good, and then it slowly starts to devolve and somebody's upset, and then they get really really angry, and then there's this big climax of a fight, and then it's like kind of the cooling off period, and then
Rinse
they
and
start
repeat.
to really vibe again,
But
and
wait,
then
there's
they
more.
Yeah.
yeah, it was just like this like cycle. They're just going around and around and around, and I was like, okay, like this could have been probably like a 45-minute movie. Like I didn't need to see all this like so drawn out. But like I mean, it did kind of give you like the discomfort of being in the room of a
Hmm.
fight between this couple that has been through so much together and like never really talk about it. I guess it was realistic in a way, but it was also just like as a viewer, I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm about to have to like time out. Like
It's a little too much for
this is a
me.
lot.
Yeah, like I totally feel you on that, like in the room thing, because like I mean, honestly, I didn't know what to expect for this movie, and then they have the first fight of many, and that was like the first what 15 minutes or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I felt like I was just so uncomfortable, like sitting on a couch in their living room while it was happening,
Yeah.
and it felt super like long. It felt like 30 minutes or like 45 minutes went by, and then I looked at like to see how long we're in. I'm like, whoa, oh my god, there's still more movie. Like what are
I
we,
did the same thing.
and like what are we gonna get into?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what the like so much just happened, and I am uncomfortable. I feel like I need to call a cab,
You're like, should I be
or an Uber or
here?
something. Yeah, and yeah, so I totally feel you on that. Josh, what about you, man?
Yeah. I would say like the same. I actually really liked this movie. It was weird. It's like I really liked, it, even though I can
It
admit,
was weird for
yeah,
sure.
there were some parts where like I'll be honest, like there's some of the out of like 10 arguments, I probably only paid attention to like 7 of them because like and also I have to like disclaim I watched this movie over a period of 6 hours because like after every after like every argument I was like, all right, I gotta pause it real quick. I gotta I gotta go do something
Some
else,
water.
come back and get ready for the next fight, but I don't know, like there's a lot, like I liked the black and white aspect into it too, how like they use it as like an artistic feature too, and I don't know if like this is generally like other people would think this too, but I think it was also black and white to show because just like their arguments, like there's a lot of
Their
things that
relationship too.
yeah, like it was super like black and white, like one person might be right, and then all of a sudden the next person you're rooting for the other person, and then another person talks, you're rooting for like there's like always there's like levels to everything like they're arguing about, which is weird, but
100%.
Yeah, and also how like there's like that thing at the end where they're talking about there's a fine line between love and hate.
Mhm.
It's like there's just duality and everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's so weird.
I mean, I definitely agree with both y'all. I feel like I know Ashton said she's still marinating on it. I feel like I'm probably the odd one out, or more so. Like to be honest, I didn't really enjoy the movie. There were like obviously I think it's a good talk, like something to talk about. It's definitely something to talk about. To me though, just surface level thoughts is like it just seemed like yes, it's realistic in a sense, and then it just felt like arguing for the sake of arguing. And other than that, like I had like trouble finding out. I don't know about you guys, but I just couldn't figure out like what's the like theme, what's the message of this trying to portray besides like possibly a cycle of violence in a toxic relationship, right? And is that like what the director is going for? Not to get like, I'm not trying to find something super philosophical in it or anything. I'm just like, why am I
Something.
watching this?
Yeah.
And it's like this is just happening, and it does. I really do feel that. All right, I'm just kind of here, and y'all could finish this, and I could just not watch the rest of this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just kind of where
Well,
I'm
it's
at. With
interesting
it.
you even say that because like the thing that he's talking about like in the movie of him being like upset about like the
The
Review.
speech,
freaking
the
no,
reviewer.
the review.
Yeah.
Yeah, the review. he's like upset because he's like, why does it have to have like a meaning? Like, why can't it just be art
Yeah.
for the sake of art or whatever? Like, so
Yeah.
I kind of almost wonder if like that was kind of the message of the movie, where it's like, hey, it's just a snapshot in time. Like, there's nothing really,
Yeah.
like, there's nothing really to take away, or nothing really that is like the message. It's not political about like the, you know, the
Yeah.
suffering of Black people in relationships and how they're dysfunctional. Like,
Mhm.
it's just a snapshot of a couple that have been through some stuff and like are just now like having this conversation about it, and no one's really right. Like you were saying, like I think Josh was saying, like how 1 second you're rooting for one of them and then the next second you're completely on the other person's side. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just like constantly showing like there's maybe no right or wrong, there may
Mhm.
be no artistic versus political, maybe it's just like I'm just showing you something.
Yeah.
That's
and-
not necessarily like a great like movie, but it is an interesting like take on it.
Yeah, and I guess now that you put it into that perspective, it doesn't help me enjoy it more. I guess like I would never like care to watch it ever again.
Yeah.
Not that I like need to, and not that a lot of people that watch this do. Even if you do like it, I feel, unless you're like super into it. But I guess it is sort of, it really is like a slice of life. But in that sense, I have not it's a very unique slice of life. Like I haven't watched a slice of life like this, right? Does that make sense? Like,
I don't know what other movie is like this, to be honest.
It reminds me a little bit of Marriage Story. I mean,
Yeah,
Marriage Story was a little bit
totally.
more cinematic and like followed a more traditional like
more Hollywood.
storyline. Yeah, but it like had that same like you were saying, it's like I should call a cab, like I shouldn't be here kind of feeling, where they're giving this very another one I can think of is Fences, which is really ironic. I actually had this thought during it that it was reminding me of Fences. I don't know if either one of you saw that one, but it had Denzel Washington and Viola Davis in it.
I did not. I need to
Which
see that though.
I
is
think we talked
John
about this
David
last
Washington's father. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. But like that was another one where I really felt like I was watching something I shouldn't be watching. Like it was a very private moment that like just I shouldn't be seeing. And yeah, I feel like every movie I've seen that's like that like makes me feel this way, where I'm like, I don't really feel like I should have seen that.
Yeah, and it's like definitely, it's very uncomfortable. And you know, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to arguments like that, you know, and like I know we're saying that like Josh made a point of, you're rooting for one person and then the other next. I'm just putting this out there. It's not right or wrong. I'm just saying that in my opinion, Malcolm is the more toxic person.
Yeah.
Zendaya or Marie for sure has some. They both clearly just don't seem
They
that good
both
for each
have
other,
their
but maybe they
points.
are.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, they both have their own sides, and yeah,
That was one of my notes, was that like it felt like the movie was trying to show them as like on equal ground.
Mhm.
Like I should be like ping-ponging back and forth, but I agree, like I had a much harder time like sympathizing with Malcolm than I
Mhm.
did
He
with
was
Murray.
a dick.
Because he went for the throat every time.
Yeah.
I was
Like-
like, dude, like you really just like
That's your girl. What are you
said,
saying?
I don't even care.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna turn around and say you're the love of my life. Nobody else does it for me like you do. Like, I don't really believe you. Like, dang, you just really like banked, like she was saying, like banked on the fact that like I wasn't gonna go anywhere.
Yep.
Mhm.
Because you really just like went for the jugular and expected me to still be there when you turned around. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, I just want to do a quick shout out to the audio design around the mac and cheese eating, because like
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
that, like the chewing and the spooning and stuff, and like the yelling with the
The
mouthful.
stabbing.
I don't know why. It may be weird, but it made me want mac and cheese. No why.
It in a really weird way made me want mac and cheese too, even though I really hated watching that.
I know.
I was like, I'm so uncomfortable. I have no idea why you're just like attacking it. And then it's all up in his beard and stuff. I was like, ugh.
It was the most realistic
Oh, it
way
grossed me out.
to eat a macaroni while you're mad. It was great.
Angry. Yeah, but like Ashton was saying too, it's like he is for sure just going for the jugular. Like homeboy is yelling from across the house,
Dude.
just like trying to get a rise out of her, more of a rise out of her, which is crazy to me. Like I felt so uncomfortable. Like I've witnessed friends doing that. I'm like, bro, let's not.
I'm just like,
Yeah.
just like this is awkward. I'm gonna leave.
Yeah. And Don't worry, bro. I'll walk home, man. It's all good.
That's
Okay, wait, but was anybody else bothered by the point where she like gets on top of him on the floor and then her cookie touches the floor?
Yeah,
I didn't even
I
notice
did.
the cookie. I'll be honest.
I was like, bruh. She kept that thing in her hand too. She like ate that.
Yo,
She ate the rest of that cookie.
shout out to Marie. Again, regarding the mac and cheese for putting a generous amount of butter because
Yeah.
I know that
Yes.
mac was fire, dude. I know it for a fact.
exactly. Bro, she
Like,
made that
no-
macaroni so good.
She can make macaroni for me, please. Like that. It sounds good. I don't know.
Wow,
It looked really
she's honored.
good. She should be.
She's been waiting for this moment on this podcast. She's like, oh my gosh, like I'm
Finally
finally done some
somebody
mac and
I'm just saying
cheese.
that. That's what I'm taking
My life
away.
is Zendaya is complete.
But yeah, let me see. Like, I don't know. Like,
Did anybody also think that when she walked away the first time off the camera, did you guys think that they were in an apartment? Because I thought that they were in an apartment and that she jumped off the high rise.
I did
And
not.
then it pans out
I-
and you see that they're on a farm. Was that just me?
I don't know. From the beginning of the movie, you know, they have the shot of them pulling up to the driveway on the kind of the side of the house. It seemed like just a nice, wealthy house.
Bro, they were in the middle of the woods. Like they had acres of like around them.
Yeah, low key, it was like a Bruce Wayne bachelor pad. Like, it was, I don't know, like for like a little getaway thing. I don't know. It
Yeah.
seemed very luxurious. Okay, I think because I'm not trying to bag on the movie, I'm just just telling my opinions on why I didn't like it and why I was just like, I don't know, not really about it. Was I think the biggest takeaway, though, I will give props to the two stars, Malcolm and Marie. Their performance fire. I mean, I didn't expect anything less when you told me that they were the leads, but they really did like get into character and like I think it was like the first. Honestly, now I'm thinking back on it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you guys notice like from the beginning? If not the beginning, it's like after they pull in or something when they start arguing. It's like a one shot for like 10 minutes, and
Yep.
Yes.
It was
Just
so
walking
good.
around
I was-
that counter.
yeah, no, like I remember I was like 5 minutes into it, and I'm like, holy shit, this has been one shot, and by the time it ended, I'm like, damn, that was like 10, 12 minutes. I was like, that's fucking fire. Like that was like that was the standout moment to me.
You know what other scene was like that was when the review came out and then he first saw it and he was like flipping out about her dissecting everything. I think they one shot that whole scene too with her just laughing at his rant and him just going off for like I swear it felt like 20 minutes long. But
Yeah.
Dude, it really was.
but like I actually really enjoyed that scene too. Like the stuff he was saying was actually really funny. But like I was just sitting there the whole time thinking also like this boy's has this entire like there was so many things he said. I'm like, how did he remember all this? Like this boy's hitting every
I
joke.
feel like it was almost like it almost sounded like it was like improvised
It did.
and like super impressive, like for being improvised.
I felt like Zendaya she was actually like that was her laughing at him because he's just like
Yeah.
dang, this
Yeah,
guy's actually
like genuine.
performing this. Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's like little moments like that do shine through. Like I obviously didn't like the movie, but there are like really impressive aspects of it. Just like those one shots and the performances. But I don't know. There is some things where it's like, especially going back to boiling down to the speech and like him not thanking Marie at all, even though she's like a huge part of his life, and pretty much how the movie got made, and there's just no shout out. It's just so like, why didn't she just leave that night? I don't know.
It could be like
Yeah.
it could also be like maybe that's I don't know if that movie was trying to represent this, but like like those people that are in like abusive relationship, whether it's like emotionally or physically.
Oh, 100%. Like
So
just
it could
toxic
also
as
just
fuck.
represent that because like you said, whenever Malcolm spoke, like that boy went for the throat. Like he was like he was out of pocket the entire every time he spoke, I was like, yo, there's no way this guy is gonna like make me like him again. And then all of a sudden, like whatever he said kind of made sense, but I was like, he's kind of justifiable. But then Marie would go back and like, all right, yeah, no, Marie's, like I can't go with Malcolm's just he's a douche, but I don't know, like it could also just be representing like like emotional abuse in a relationship. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's
100%.
actually a good point because that is, such a cycle. Like abuse is a cycle where they do the, oh, like I'm going to hurt you with, whatever. In this case, I'm going to hurt you with my words, and then I'm going to like be super apologetic and sorry, and then you go through the honeymoon phase, and then
Yeah.
it happens again. It's like, but for them, it was happening like rapid fire, like every 10 minutes, like it was
Yeah.
happening. And so yeah, like that's an interesting idea too of it being like this like incredibly distilled down like snapshot of like abuse because she even calls it out. She said that he was verbally abusing her.
Oh yeah, and he's like gets super offended.
Yeah, and he like literally continues to be verbally abusive and yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty
that's
like
actually an interesting call out.
yeah, and he was like king gaslight, like right
Yeah.
after.
He was.
And like she said, like that moment when he comes back and he's like, "Do you really think it's mediocre?" And then she's like, "Is that really all you heard out of everything I just said?" Like there were so many times like I felt like I felt as uncomfortable as she was. Like you could
Yeah.
tell like how uncomfortable those moments were.
Totally.
Ugh. I also though have to give her that shout out for the knife.
I was
scene
about to say
when she
that.
grabs the knife.
I was
and
shook.
was like. I was like, oh my gosh, is this Euphoria? Like, oh my gosh, like I'm here for it. Like, I don't even care. This is great. But like, and then for her to win that around on us, I was like, girl.
Bro, she played me, dog. I
Wow.
was so confused.
That is it.
I know. I was like, am I going to
biggest
be
mic
more
drop.
invested into this movie?
Yeah, I literally thought it was going the second act was just going to be like the hostage situation.
Yeah, like,
And I was here
that'd be-
for it, honestly.
That'd be fun. Like, let's someone make a director's cut of that, a different cut.
Yeah.
Into a horror film.
Would you guys watch this again? Would you recommend it to someone? Yeah.
I mean, once again, I think you're right with like even movies like this, like even if you like them, you wouldn't really want to see it again because once
Yeah.
again, like I said, it felt so uncomfortable to watch.
hmm
I'm gonna say there is a lot artistically I liked about it, like from a craft point of view, to use his
Kraft mac and
Words.
cheese. Mac and cheese in the movie.
Inception. Yeah, so like I feel like from like that point of view of like was it a well crafted film? 100%.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I think was it a subject that I want to revisit? Like no. So would I recommend it? If you're into those really intimate like moments, if you liked Euphoria, you might like this. Like I mean, Euphoria is also a little bit more like cinematic Hollywood, not so much,
Super
but like
aesthetic,
it does
too.
have that where you're sitting there gazing on something you feel like you shouldn't be watching.
Mhm.
Then like yeah, I would recommend it. I feel like it's gonna hit everybody different.
Yeah, I
Totally.
think so too.
Yeah, and I feel like if you can relate to those things, like you can see like the value in it, like in the film because it's expressing in ways that you felt, even though it doesn't like feel good to watch.
Mhm.
I also do want to point out I really loved the shot that they kind of keep coming back to, where it's like shooting from the front of the bedroom, like across the bed and out through the window.
Yeah,
those are-
yeah, that was a
I
good
like
one.
Like that was such a cool shot. I really liked that.
Fuego.
And the way that it, like that being like the ending shot was really cool.
J boy.
Yeah.
It's kind of along that lines. I have actually already recommended it to two friends, but me knowing what I got into, I told them like just warning, content could trigger you depending on what
Yeah.
what you've been through in your life. So I was like,
Totally.
it's like I want to recommend it, but
Yeah.
it's hard to just because knowing just people fighting and like it could hit a soft spot in somebody.
100%.
I remember when I finished the movie, in my mind I was like, I do want to watch it again eventually. I don't know when or because I watched it in a 6-hour period. I feel like I would do the same because there's a lot to digest. But I feel like somewhere in my life I could potentially rewatch it again, but not anytime soon because I don't know. It's like I don't think there's too much to take in a second, for a second time, but.
Let me know when you do that. We'll do a Hot Drops Revisited Malcolm and Marie.
That might,
I would watch it again for that.
yeah, I would attempt. Yeah, like I would actually do that, but yeah, I don't know. It's just very. That's it. Like I want to recommend it to I want to recommend it more to people. But I always have to be like, oh, trigger warning, or it might
totally.
get you upset. And both people I recommend it to, like, they did not like the movie. So that goes to show, like, it is not a movie for everybody.
Yeah, could be a little polarizing. Not like crazy polarizing, but it's definitely, it's going to hit everyone different for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today on this review of Malcolm and Marie. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye.
Oh, that was a good one.